Hello, everyone. I'm Rodney Smith, publisher of Our Own Voices magazine, bringing you Our Own Voices TV news from the community that you may not find elsewhere. As many of you know, we're entering into campaign season with a lot of judicial seats up for grabs. And today we're meeting with Mary Perry. And Mary, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
What seat are you running for?
I am running for Family Court Judge, Department L.
So why are you running for this particular seat, especially when it's not a vacant position?
I am running for this particular seat because the sitting judge is really making a mess out of her decisions. She is giving children back to the abusers. She is allowing a person to pick their children up after wearing a scram bracelet, which will show the blood alcohol content at 0.15. She changes the visitation schedule so that the other parent cannot monitor when the child is being picked up. She's holding an evidentiary hearing to see if she should give a child back to an accused of child abuser who's facing felony child abuse charges, only because the other parent is monitoring the phone calls to make sure that there's nothing improper being said to the child. She's taking children away from active duty military members when they get orders to go out of state or when they retire and move out of state. There's one case that's going on right now. There's an evidentiary hearing scheduled where the father had primary physical custody. The mother had already been proven to have neglected the child, so that's how the father has primary. The father retired, is moving to California because he's got a job at Edwards Air Force Base. The judge has ordered that the mother come back to Las Vegas to take care of the child while dad goes and have an evidentiary hearing to see if that's the way it should be, instead of just letting the father relocate with the child, even though she would lose jurisdiction. And this is just what's been going on in the last 6 months.
Well, what is in your background that you feel you can do a better job than this particular judge?
Well, I have 12 years of experience in actually practicing family law, where this judge has had no experience in family law before she took the bench. I spent 8.5 years in the Air Force. I'm a disabled veteran. I've worked those minimum wage jobs. I know what it's like to try to raise a family at not being able to make ends meet. I know what it's like to not even have indoor plumbing until I got up to a certain age. So it's what I enjoy saying. I have life experience before I went into the law. I can understand the struggles that many of the families in this community has. I've lived in this community since 1993 when I got out of the military. I've worked with the people here. I know the specific needs that a lot of the families have. And the sitting judge just doesn't get it. She went from high school to college to law school to, got her master's because she's a marriage and family therapist, and then went to practicing law and doing just going into that work. She's never really had a life struggling and trying to figure out how to do it.
Now, you did say that you were a military member and you got out of service here. What are some of your other connections to the community?
Well, I did those little jobs. I worked Hickory Farms before I went to law school. I worked at Lawrence Roll-Up Doors as their office manager. I was a manager at Papa John's Pizza. I delivered their pizzas for them. I worked a lot of retail positions and non-retail positions, just being in the community, being a member of society. And when I went to law school and graduated law school, I realized, I really need to get back to this community. And that's what I've been doing ever since then.
So you mentioned one area that you had interest from the sitting judge, but what are some other things that you would like to be a part of changing to make it better for those folks out there who sometimes are not sure about family court, especially men who feel that they would never have custody of their child? What in those areas do you think you can do to make the system seem fairer to everyone?
Well, I can, number one, bring common sense to the bench. I know that there's just as many men out there who can make a good parent as there are women. Sometimes men make better parents than the mother. I can bring in the fact that I have every intention of justice being blind. I don't care if you're the man, I don't care if you're the woman, I don't care who earns the more money, who has the least amount of money. The only thing I care about is what's going to be best for these children. And if you've got a good father, that father needs to be in that child's life. If they've got a good mother, that mother needs to be in their life. Sometimes one parent's not going to give primary physical custody because you've got two good parents, and those parents deserve to share those children.
Well, now, do you think that that's something that's more unique in the way you handle the cases that have come before you than what we're seeing in the court systems currently?
Not necessarily. Right now we do have some good judges who, to them, make the proper decisions. They, to them, you know, they're sex to the blind, or they're blind to the sex of the parties. Mm-hmm. And they just base on the facts, and we just need more of the judges like that. We also need consistency. You know, the decisions need to be consistent. When a person is going up there in front of the judge with this certain set of facts, then the next person coming in with those close to the same sort of facts should be able to say, okay, this is the decision that was made in the past, it should be the same decision for me. And that's not being done now.
So finally, what's something that you would like for those folks who are maybe a little indecisive on whether they should vote for you or the person that's currently seated? What would you like for them to know about you to help them make their decision?
Just the fact that I have a bunch of common sense and I want to do everything I can to protect the children. That I don't have the extra baggage going in there that will cause me to make a decision, you know, that's inconsistent with my other decisions. I do have the consistency and I do have the temperament to be able to do the job.
So for those folks who would like to learn a little bit more about you, about Mary, do you have a web address or a means of contact?
Yes, I do have a website. It is maryperryforjudge.com. I'm also on Facebook at Mary Perry. You know, you can Facebook me. My email address is maryperryforjudge@gmail.com. And then you can call me. My phone number is 702-384-9911. I'll answer any questions you have.
Wow. Well, folks, there you have it. The first in our Meet the Candidate series. Someone running for family court and says she has a plan. That's a common sense plan that'll hopefully take care of the needs of the community. Once again, this is Mary Perry. Thank you so much, Mary, for joining us today.
Thank you, Rodney, for having me.
This is the conclusion of Our Own Voices Live. Meet the Candidate.